everybody, and welcome to the first edition of the Spartan Sports Report for this year. And Sam and I are happy to welcome the head football coach at CHS, Adam Kelly. Adam, glad to have you.
Well, thanks for having me, Fran.
Okay, one ball game under our belt. Spartans opened the season with the Richmond Red Devils at Spartan Field. The minuses and pluses of the game, in your opinion?
Well, we didn't get off to a very good start. We had a block punt on our first offensive set, and then Richmond took the ball, put it in the end zone. They were first and goal from the 6 or the 7 there, and I think that rattled our kids a little bit. They kicked off to us. We struggled on our kick return. They pinned us deep again. We fumbled on a toss play that looked like it had some good yards in front of it. We recovered that fumble on the 1. We're able to get us out of the end zone a little bit to the 4 or 5 yard line and kick away. So they start with great field position at the 35 and work their way down. So that early going, and then plus the no excuses obviously, but the weather, the field wasn't in great condition, and a lot of new kids out there for a Friday night, and I think they went into panic mode, and that's on me and our coaching staff to help prepare them better for those types of scenarios. So I don't think we did the best job getting them ready for that possibility. But then they buckled down and played a really good second half, held their opponent to 1 score, and were able to put 2 touchdowns on the board and a safety, and had a couple other nice drives. So there were definitely some positives in there. You can't take away the beginning, unfortunately, and that's what led to the 34-16 loss.
First game jitters, did that play into it, Adam?
I think that's part of it. We scrimmaged enough during the summer, and we had our scrimmage last week or the previous week against a good Monrovia team, and we showed pretty well in the scrimmage.
Yes.
So I think there's something to that first Friday night under the lights. But something I said to Grady Tate in this News Examiner, each team has its own personality, and we've had teams that start great and struggled, say, in the third quarter coming out of half. We've had teams that have struggled early and then brought it on later, and that seems to be the personality of this team at this point. And we saw that during the summer in some of the events that we went to. So as a coaching staff, we've talked about that extensively over the weekend, and tried to find some different ways to kind of get the kids out of the gate and find some positive momentum early, because once things start going well for them, they really feed off of that. But they are also feeding off of if something goes the other way. So we've got to be able to be even keel, whether it goes well or it goes poorly in the beginning.
Would you go ahead, Sam?
I'm just going to ask, did you remind the kids of last year when we didn't have any points on the board at halftime against Richmond and came back and won that it was possible even though they hadn't scored in the first half?
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that a little bit. We focused more on where we were making the mistakes and some adjustments that we could make.
What kind of adjustments did you make?
We tried to open it up a little bit. We threw the ball a little bit more. We got in and out of the huddle a little bit quicker. We defined some assignments that were, not that they weren't defined previously, but there were some alternatives based on where the defense was set. So we tried to simplify that. Hey, we're just going to do this with it to take away that thought process with them. So maybe we put a little too much on them early as individuals to process and make the correct play or make the correct step. So we took some of the thought process out of it at halftime, which I think allowed them just to go out and play ball. So again, that's on me as a coach, giving him too much to digest this early in the season. I misread. I thought they were ready for some of the things that we were trying to do, and obviously we were not.
And Richmond improved over what we saw them last year.
Absolutely. That shows the difference a coach can make. The guy that was there previously, I think he struggled a little bit, which was evident by the game they played against us, as well as the rest of their season and how that went. And they brought in a guy that's a state championship caliber coach with, I think his record's in 130 to 40 losses, 130 wins, 40 losses, somewhere in that area. And he's had a lot of success everywhere he's gone. And that pedigree, he's brought something a little bit different to Richmond football.
Sure he has, and I think it was evident. So.
Yeah. Their kids played hard, and I know we saw him in the scrimmage, and he talked about it on his TV show in the week about how his team needed to be more physical. And we didn't expect them to be as physical as they were Friday night, and they were pretty physical.
And they didn't have great numbers on the sidelines.
So. No, and that's a trend throughout high school football right now. We'll see the sidelines when we travel to Franklin County next week. Their sideline will be smaller. When we travel to Greensburg the week after that, their sideline will be smaller. So that's a trend in high school football.
Soccer taking it away, or?
There's the other opportunities to participate in other sports. There's the fear that parents have right now that football is an extremely dangerous sport, which, there's also research out there that shows otherwise and shows the great benefits of playing the sport of football. But as parents, they're making the decisions that they're not necessarily pushing their kids into that sport at this time.
I think there are 3 schools in Indiana that aren't having football because of lack of players.
Yes, there's a lot of there's contraction, and I think that's a trend that we will continue to see. And I say that, and then I look at our youth league, and we have a couple of our youth teams. Our 4th grade team has close to 35 kids on it. Our 5th grade team has 30 kids on it. Our 1st and 2nd grade teams are in that 20 range. Unfortunately, our 3rd grade team was very small and wasn't able to field a team this year, and our 6th grade wasn't able to field a team this year. But so it's kind of an up and down thing. We have several freshmen out this year. Our sophomore class is pretty strong. Our junior class is very small, and our senior class is pretty small. So we're supplementing a varsity program right now with freshmen and sophomores who should be out playing JV and freshman football.
And it's too bad that they can't, because they could develop then gain more skills maybe at a lesser level at JV football.
Absolutely, and they're playing with their class that they're going to come up through the ranks with. Last year, Adam Jr. unfortunately and fortunately had to step in and play quarterback and started every game last year as a freshman. And this season, Gavin Lynch is a starting free safety and seeing reps on the offensive side of the ball, and he would be the freshman JV quarterback. But instead now we have to take another kid who doesn't usually play quarterback and turn him into a quarterback, and so now the JV team will struggle a little bit because of that, and so on and so forth. So it does make it difficult when you have to pluck from the lower grade levels and put kids in. Maybe they're ready, and they will perform well, which we've seen with both Gavin and Junior. But you're right, they don't have that opportunity to develop at the lower levels.
Yeah, I was impressed with your 9th graders. I really was. Those kids that you inserted in the game did a good job.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And the game wasn't too big for them, and it wasn't too fast for them, and so we're seeing good things from them.
They didn't show any fear. Or
Quite an adjustment. Quite an adjustment from 8th grade to varsity.
Absolutely. Yeah, you go from playing with guys that might have an armpit hair or two to guys with full beards and the whole deal. So, they're playing against some grown men out there. So I was very proud of the young guys and the way they played on Friday.
And I think your Adam showed a lot of improvement from last year to this year. I was impressed with his play.
He worked very hard in the off season.
Yes.
We went to different coaches out of Indianapolis and did some things up in Westfield, 7-on-7s and different things like that, and really exposed him to some good coaching and exposed him to some really good competition, and we're seeing the results. His throwing motion, his ability to get the ball out right now is 100 times better than it was a year ago.
Yes. You've done great things with his youth league. I mean, it didn't exist until you came, did it?
Well, we had a youth league, but it was in the Whitewater Valley League, and it was 3rd and 4th grade combined and 5th and 6th grade combined. And what we've done over the past 5 years is we've turned it into, we've got into a league that mirrors our conference, and we have teams in grades 1 through 6 now. So there's plenty of opportunity for each kid to play or get on the field and participate. And again, it builds that camaraderie within each class, which we hope will stick, and so they will stay together as they move up the ranks. We've become a not-for-profit organization. We've got an administrative board now in place, and I'm really proud of our youth league and what it's done. We're going to continue to try to improve and work to improve, but I'm really excited about what those individuals are doing down there.
You work football 365 days a year, don't you?
I do. I do.
I thought so, right. Final score on Friday night was a Richmond victory, 34-16. We have some video from it. TV3 was there, so let's view those shots right now. Okay. Opening of the game.
Good camera work there.
Yeah, they did that. I think that's one of the fellows you were talking about from Richmond, Adam, that really had a good game.
Yeah, and some of our guys, like right there, you saw that defensive end come in and hit that quarterback. And we worked all week. We knew that the quarterback was not the running threat, it was the fullback. And we talked about when you come down in there, let's take the fullback. Well, if the quarterback's going to run it, we'll take our chances with him. And you see the kid go in, and but that's kids. That's what you get when you're working with young guys. And,
sure.
He's trying to make a play. That's one of our freshmen there, Gavin Lynch, number 15.
Yeah, I think we're going to see big things from Gavin.
Yeah, I agree. I was impressed with the freshman kids. Good throw by Adam. Yeah, it was at the play where the ball popped out.
Yeah.
And I was hoping the ref would give us that game. I thought the kid had enough possession to warrant.
He's a pretty tough kid. He hopped up from that, and his eyes were wide open. But
that was a hard hit.
he took a break and he hopped right back in. As you can see him there taking a toss. And right here, he gets thrown into the bench here, out of bounds.
Yeah, I was
Glad he got up from that one.
happy that he wasn't hurt, because for a couple of seconds we thought maybe he might be injured.
And there you can see we have guys reaching and grabbing instead of putting pads on them. And you got that back is a pretty good back, and you're not going to bring him down reaching out and grabbing a hold of him.
And we can see there the field was getting pretty sloppy. Didn't have a whole lot of rain during the game, but it was what we'd had earlier in the day.
Yes.
Made it pretty slick out there.
Yeah.
We just missed there. That was on a 3rd and I think 3rd and 8. And we get them off the field there. This is that drive, I believe, right at the beginning of the 3rd quarter. They ate all that clock and put points on the board right there.
But then after that, Spartans pretty much owned them, I thought. We heard some people talk about, they brought in their freshman quarterback and all that, but not for too long because they'd seen enough. Our guys were digging in.
And you see a lot of their varsity kids are still out there on the field.
Yeah.
But that was a nice drive.
Yeah. That was nice right there.
Yeah, Landon Circle had a good game. I think
Yes,
85 yards from the fullback spot is pretty impressive. We're excited that he came back to play this year. And Shane Smith, they were catching that touchdown. He was a guard for us last year. So we moved him out to split end because he's got good size, good hands, and a little bit of speed. I didn't necessarily agree with that penalty.
Right.
Kids are playing hard, going for the ball.
Yeah, and with the field condition the way it was, wouldn't have been easy to stop either.
Right, and he didn't lead with his head, and he didn't hit him in the head. You know, but it's a judgment call, and the official thought it was unnecessary.
Right, yeah.
And then on the next drive, we go down and, you know, we turn the ball over down on the 5-yard line. We're getting ready to get some points. So we saw some good things there in the latter half of the game.
So what do you do this week then, as a result of what you saw, both first half and second half, to get ready for the Wildcats?
Well, Franklin County is going to be a very physical team. These guys were pretty physical Friday, but Franklin County might be the most physical team we play all year.
Really?
They just are. They're built that way. Every year we play them, it's a fist fight. And last year we did not. I think talent-wise, we matched up pretty well with them last year. But the physicality that they brought to the field last year, our kids, they were shocked by it a little bit. So we've got to work this week of being extremely physical in all aspects, whether it's our corners, our wide receivers, our running backs, our linemen obviously have to be physical. And then I think we simplify things a little bit, draw it back down a little bit, make sure we have our base stuff going early, and then expand as we move throughout the game. Set them up with the base stuff, and then expand from there.
The younger guys ought to, with a game under their belt, maybe anticipate the toughness a little more.
Yes.
Than what they did last week. That they've been through a tough game now, so.
Yeah, the speed of it, the whole deal. It changes each week. It gets, I don't want to say a little easier, but you understand it a little bit more. You understand what to expect. And those butterflies, you know, they're a little less and a little less. You still get the adrenaline and the excitement, but you understand what to do with that stuff, I think, a little better as you move through the season.
When you're going up against tough guys, the physicality like you talked about at Franklin County, that's maybe it can only make them better.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping. Right. And Franklin County plays good football. They've always played good football, and they'll probably always play good football. And I love playing them. I like the intensity that they bring, and so we're going to, you know, try to match that intensity this week.
Natural rivalry being so close.
Absolutely.
When will you share the scouting report with your kids?
They're going through that right now.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Defense is going through all of their stuff right now, and then once we finish this show, I'll go in and we'll put the offense through the deal, and then we'll go out and walk through a bunch of stuff. We go pretty light on Mondays, do some conditioning.
Sure.
We go helmet only, no hitting, and then tomorrow will be a big work day, and Wednesday's a big work day, and then Thursday we try to clean everything up. Again, not a lot of contact on Thursday, and then get to play the game on Friday.
As we mentioned, Newcastle, Franklin County last week, 42-12 was a victory for Newcastle. Here's how some of the other Spartan future opponents did. We'll be playing at Greensburg on August the 31st. They won 49-7 over Shelbyville. South Dearborn lost to Seymour 7-0. South Dearborn comes to Connersville September 7th. Rushville won over Milan 36-35. The Lions play at Spartan Field on September 14th. Jennings County lost 40-0 to Batesville. The Spartans travel to Jennings County September 21st and close the regular season at home with Batesville October 12th. East Central won over Lawrenceburg 38-7. East Central, the defending Class 4A state champs, play the Spartans at Spartan Field September 28th. And Connersville plays at Lawrenceburg on October the 5th. East Central sort of picked up where they left off after they won the state championship.
They did, and everybody that's talking about them saying that this year's team is better than last year's team. They'll be challenged during the year, and there's some good teams in our conference that'll play hard against them, but they're not going to run into anything big time, I don't think, until they get into regional and into the semi-state, should they make it that far.
Yeah, they're And they play some Ohio teams, don't they?
They play Harrison,
Yeah.
which is a short drive for them. And I don't know, they've played LaSalle. They've played a few different
Cincinnati,
teams out of
yeah.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I don't know what they have on their schedule this year in terms of their non-conference. They'll play the Harrison game, I'm sure, but who they play after that, I'm not real sure.
Conference tough again.
It is. You saw the Batesville score there. The Batesville quarterback, Trey Heidlich, is an amazing football player here. He's a pretty good baseball player too. Lawrenceburg has lost a lot of kids from last season, but their program is now just turning them over one class after the next. And so the South Dearborn, they've been working with this senior class for the past 3 years. He had them starting as freshmen and sophomores, and has really been working towards this year. And so he's getting his program going in the right direction. And and you see Rushville takes out Milan, Milan is a
Yes.
tremendous football school.
Yes.
So there's no easy wins
Yeah.
in our schedule, that's for sure.
At Rushville Milan game, I listened to it on the way home on our sister station, and they won that with Rushville went ahead with about a minute to go, and it was pretty exciting to what was going on, because they'd gone back and forth all evening long, is what I understand.
Here's how some other area teams did on Friday. Union County lost 22-8 to Northeastern. Cambridge City, Lincoln lost to Centerville 35-12. This Saturday, Union County, Centerville, and Lincoln, Cambridge City, Lincoln, all play at Ball State. Must be some kind of a tournament or something. Cambridge City and Union County meet in a 10 o'clock in the morning game. Centerville plays Hagerstown at 7. So do you know what's going on up there?
Well, their conference has a day up there at Ball State. So
okay.
all the conference teams will go up, whoever they're playing in week 2 or whatever week that is, they'll go up to Ball State and play on their
That's
stadium.
the TEC conference?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it's their conference deal. A lot of conferences will do that. Some do it at Lucas Oil. Some will have a college that they go play at. And it's a pretty cool experience for the
Yeah,
kids
I'll
to
bet.
get out and play on a little bigger stadium.
And treat for the fans along a lot of
Absolutely.
football.
Yes.
Yeah.
At one game at 10 a.m., would that be a hard game to do?
I don't think so.
You like
wake
to
up,
play
eat
then?
breakfast, get on the bus, and
No time to think about it, just
Right.
go play, huh?
Over the years since I've been here, we've played better on the road than we have at home for whatever reason. I think part of that is that thought process. There's no downtime. We get out of school, we eat, we load the bus, we get there, we warm up, and it's time to play. When we play at home, it's get out of school, eat, and now we have meetings and we do walkthroughs, but there's just something about
You need to take the kids
the
on
urgencies.
You need to take the kids on a bus trip.
Well, a couple years ago, we took them down to Roberts Park to eat, and so we bus them in afterwards. Last year, we did. We ate in the school cafeteria, then we played a movie in the, or part of a movie in the auditorium, and then went down to the locker room. So we've tried multiple things over the years to try to switch things up and find the right
Sure.
groove for those home games, and for whatever reason, we're struggling in that department right now.
Yeah, we had 4 victories last year, and 3 of them were on the road.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
You
Go figure.
describing that reminds me of hurry up and wait. You're an old Army guy
Yes,
that
yes.
you get ready and then you just sit there.
Right.
let's check out this week at CHS the sports. Today, the boys varsity and junior varsity soccer is at Franklin County, varsity and JV varsity volleyball at Anderson. Girls soccer home to Delta. Junior varsity football with Monroe Central will not occur because of the rain. On Tuesday, girls golf host Rushville at Connersville's Willowbrook course at 5 o'clock. Boys soccer home to East Central at 5, start time. Volleyball at South Dearborn at 5:30. On Wednesday, boys tennis at Richmond at 5:30. Thursday, volleyball team in action against Greensburg, CHS gym at 5:30. Girls golf at Centerville at 5. Boys tennis against Cambridge City at the CHS courts at 5 o'clock. On Friday, of course, the Spartans at Franklin County and varsity football with a 7 p.m. kickoff. And Saturday, girls golf at New Palestine at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Co-ed cross-country teams in the Rushville Invitational at 9 a.m. Boys soccer home to Union County at 10 o'clock in the morning. This week at the middle school, today cross-country teams are at Greensburg for an invitational. On Tuesday, the volleyball team will be home to Greensburg at 5:30. Football at Union County at 6. On Thursday, a home cross-country meet with Rushville St. Mary's starting at 4:30. And volleyball at Seton Catholic at 6 o'clock. Adam, a busy week.
It is. It's a busy time of year, but it's
right.
fantastic.
A lot of sports in the fall. Speaking of a middle school football, 7th and 8th graders, is that one team or a separate team?
No, we have a 7th grade team and an 8th grade team. And we have a coaching staff in place now. Macaulay Vessels, a former player of mine, graduated in 2012, my first year here. And John Marvel also graduated in that same class, are both part of that staff, along with two high school teachers, Jeremy Horn and Chad House. So we now have 4 coaches down at the middle school that are involved in the school system, and that I know personally and have worked with for several years now, and know what we're looking for and how we're trying to draw the kids in, and how we're trying to treat the kids, and how we're trying to teach the game of football. And I've heard nothing but great things about that staff over the past month or so since they've started practice, and so we're really excited about the direction our middle school is headed.
Yeah, I think these kids have got how many games they play?
I think the 8th grade, like the Union County game, is a combined, because Union County has a mix of 7th and 8th.
Okay.
But I believe each team is at 7 or 8 games.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So plenty of experience for those young men.
I know you watch it carefully, and they play your style.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Grades K through 12, we're all playing the same thing. I tell the coaches, have some fun, throw some, reverses and halfback pass, have some fun with what you're doing, but try to use the same terminology and the same basic schemes. We had a coaching clinic that I put on this past summer for our youth coaches and our middle school staff, and they came and we work with them continuously. We have youth practice tonight. Myself and part of the varsity staff will be there throughout youth practice on both Mondays and Thursday youth practices. We try to be intimately involved, not just with the coaches, but with the kids as well. I love going into the grocery store and I have little kids running up and giving me hugs. Hey, Coach Kelly, how's it going? And those kinds of things. So we try to be, every kid in the program is very important to each one of us.
That's a good thing. And I think it's great that you got a couple guys at the middle school level that are from Connersville. I always like that. It's community pride. They grew up with it, and now they're carrying it on. They're paying it forward.
Yes, and you invest. I mean, not that I wouldn't go if I went somewhere else. Not that I wouldn't put my heart and soul into it. But there's a little bit more.
Sure.
You were a Spartan, so you understand.
Yes, yes.
I remember when you were hired by Pam Noble, she said, this guy bleeds Spartan red. So, and I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I love being here, and I love working with this school and this administration, right. and I love the sport of football. So,
a new building project underway for CHS. How's it going to help the football team?
Well, it's going to help all of our athletes develop. Okay. And we're hopeful that it promotes sports and athletics in our school community, which will hopefully draw more kids out of those hallways into our athletic teams, whether it's football or soccer or baseball. Our coaching staffs all work well together in terms of promoting each other's sports. There'll be fitness opportunities for the kids, and speed work and agility work and strength work and all of those things that we need to start to enhance our athletic programs. It's going to be, I believe it'll be a big promotion, and it shows that Connersville or Fayette County School Corporation is looking out for the best interest of our kids, and they want our kids to have the best. And I know Mr. Collins has said that multiple times. Our kids deserve the best, whether it's coaches or facilities, and he's pretty adamant on trying to make that happen.
And for our students, both athletically and from a safety standpoint as well, is the way,
Yes.
way they're building that.
Yes, it's going to lock in the campus and help prevent what could be issues because of the open campus that we have.
Adam, thanks a lot for joining us. Best of luck in all the games coming up, and we know you're going to be very successful.
We're going to give it our best shot every week. I promise you that.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3.